just realize that you can still live a very healthy and positive life despite your HIV status. Look, I've spoken too much. I've spoken too much. You told me 1 minute. I've been speaking for 10 minutes. Okay. So having lived with HIV myself for over 20 years, it kind of gave me that passion to want to reach out to people that are also HIV positive, and especially those that maybe are struggling to accept their status, and some of them maybe are in denial, some are contemplating suicide. So it's one of the reasons that actually made me to just come out in the open about my status and begin to talk openly about my status, so that maybe somebody out there who's struggling with their status can be encouraged and they can fight on in life. Because I mean, I've lived with it for over 20 years, and I feel if I can live with it for over 20 years, then anyone can live with it. It's not really like it's a death sentence like it used to be then in the 90s. Now there's so much medication, there's so much advancement in medication, and people can live happy lives. I mean, I'm a happy soul despite being HIV positive. I don't really frown at life for being HIV positive. I try to make the most of whatever comes my way in life despite my HIV status. So really my activism in HIV is all about trying to help people out there and trying to encourage people to live a positive life and never to give up on life despite them being HIV positive. In my experience from dealing with people that are HIV positive, okay, in my experience in dealing with people that are HIV positive, I realized that most people seem to still have this misconception about HIV, and they think once you test HIV positive, then that's the end of the world. All you have to do is wait until you get sick and then eventually die. But then nowadays, really, that's not the case. I mean, you see so many people walking around who are HIV positive, and you wouldn't even tell. You can't be able to point out and say, no, that one is on medication, or that one is sick, and things of that sort. I mean, it's really not so evident anymore in this time and age that somebody is HIV positive. So if one tests HIV positive, I really don't expect them to, be so downcast and feel like that's the end of the world, because life goes on. HIV is now just a condition, just like any other condition. The same way you would see diabetes, or the same way you would see high blood pressure, is the same way that I would like somebody who's HIV positive to be able to consider their condition. People who've got high blood pressure have to take medication on a daily basis. Same with people who are diabetics. They have to take medication on a daily basis. Actually, diabetics are even worse, because some of them have to take an injection every day. But for you who's HIV positive, it's probably just one tablet, depending on the type of medication that you're on, and you live a normal life. Take your medication like the same way you take your food on a daily basis. See it as your daily food, and it will not affect you so much. But then if you start looking at it like it's something that's, like a punishment, you see it like it's a torture, then that's where you have a problem with it. But for me, I think I've reached a level where taking my drugs is not a problem. I'm right now at a point where I'm undetectable, and I cannot transmit the virus to my partner because of my adherence. I'm sure some of you may have heard now that when you say undetectable is equal to untransmittable, it means you cannot transmit the virus. So we would like to see an HIV-free generation as a result of that. People adhering to their medication, and because of that, they cannot transmit the virus, and we have less infections as a result of that. But if people are not adhering because of denial or because of stigma or discrimination. So when it comes to stigma, I think it's the self-stigma that really kills people. The outside stigma won't affect you so much, but when you self-stigmatize yourself, that really can have an effect on you. So I would like to reach out to people and encourage them not to self-stigmatize themselves, and to just live a positive life, and just to live life like they didn't even have HIV, because I think that's the goal of my message out there, and my awareness about HIV and living with HIV is trying to help people understand that HIV is not something that should make you stop living your life. Despite you being HIV I think I would love to see people still living a healthy life, a fulfilled life. I've taken up exercise as one of my passions, despite me being HIV positive. And sometimes when people see me exercising, they're like, really? Are you HIV positive? You've got so much energy, you look so healthy. And it's because I think I've come to a point where HIV is not really a death sentence for me. It's just one condition that I can manage with my ARVs. So I take my ARVs, I manage it well. And yeah, so really I would like to create awareness out there and show people that HIV is not something that somebody should be afraid of. It's a condition that somebody, once they accept their status and they learn to live with it, they can live a healthy life, they can live a fulfilled life, they can live a very vibrant life, you see. And I mean, you can work, you can do business, you can get married. And I've had some people ask me to say, so once I'm HIV positive, it means my love life comes to an end. I mean, that's not really the case. Okay, quite all right. There might be some people that will reject you for being HIV positive. And I went through that in my earlier days when I found out about my HIV status, because back then, people really didn't understand about HIV. But eventually I got to meet somebody, and not somebody that is also positive, but somebody that is negative. And we've lived together for 6 years, despite my being HIV positive. We've even got a child that is HIV negative, despite the fact that I'm HIV positive. So really, being HIV positive does not restrict you from living a healthy life or a happy life. It does not restrict you from having children. It does not restrict you from getting married. It does not restrict you from working. People think maybe when you're HIV positive, then you can't work because you'll always be sick. No, come on, that's not really the case. You can still work, you can still do business, you can do whatever you want to do, whatever passion, whatever dream, whatever career that you've chosen to do, you can still do it despite being HIV positive. So my message out there to people that maybe you've tested positive, you're HIV, is don't give up on life, don't think it's the end of life. Just realize that you can still live a very healthy and positive life despite your HIV status. Look, I've spoken too much. I've spoken too much. You told me 1 minute. I've been speaking for 10 minutes.
Hi guys, it's girl Lily Mutamz, also known as Global Z, Umwanakashwapa Zambia. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have a special guest. Her name is Duba Sakala, and she'll be sharing with us her experiences of something that people hide in this world. Duba has been a friend of mine for many years, and a few months ago she decided to disclose her status. So before I say anything, let me welcome Duba first. Hi Duba.
Hi Lily.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to have you on my channel. Guys, you don't know how difficult it is to get this woman. She's so busy. She's a busy bee. I'm just joking. So Duba, just tell us about yourself, who you are, and the status I've been talking about.
Duba is basically a simple girl who grew up in Lusaka, though I have lived on the Copper Belt, Ndola specifically. I was born in 1976, and I'm a mother of 2.
Wow.
Yes, and career-wise, I chose to do IT, IMIS, Institute for the Management of Information Systems.
Okay.
Though I haven't worked much in IT, but I have done something in IT as well.
Okay.
Yes, so really I think that's all to say about Duba.
Okay. Duba, I knew something about you privately that you hadn't shared publicly, and I saw you share on Facebook, and I was really bored of you. And I just wanted you to just explain to my audience what inspired you to disclose your status.
Okay, from the time that I discovered that I was HIV positive, it was something that at first, even for me, myself, it was difficult to handle. And I went through phases, where opportunistic infections, the rejection and things of that sort. And that was kind of like, I don't know whether I would call it a burden on me, like where you have this burden and you're like, what if somebody else is going through what I've gone through, you see? And what if I could help somebody out there? So it got to a point where I just felt that I really needed to reach out. I needed to share my story, I needed to share my experiences, and probably be able to help somebody out there who might also be going through exactly what I went through when I discovered my status. So I just woke up one morning and I said, well, I could do this, okay?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that it just happened there and then.
Yeah.
I mean, it had been building up for some time and it became so heavy on me, and I said, no, I think I need to just bring this out and help somebody out there. So I think my inspiration basically came from the fact that I saw quite a lot of people living in denial, and I saw quite a lot of people like failing to live with their status because they felt it was a death sentence. You see, they felt that life had come to an end, and that once you're HIV positive, that's it. You see, then you just have to sit and wait until you die. So to me, that became an inspiration. Like, no, I think I can do something about this. I can come out in the open, use my life as something positive to take out there and help somebody out there who's probably not living, with the fact that they're HIV positive, or somebody who's living with HIV, but then they're just finding it hard on a daily basis to take their medication and to face society, the stigma, the discrimination. So for me, that became an inspiration for me to just say, let me come out and use my life to help somebody out there.
And Duba has been known for posting controversial stuff on Facebook. And when I saw the post, Duba, I must admit, I was really, really scared for you. I was thinking, how will people react? But it was very positive. Lots of people appreciated the fact that you came out, which most people failed to disclose. Most people just feel if they disclose their HIV status, people bully them, especially in Africa, where certain people are treated negatively for disclosing their HIV status. In fact, there's even a stereotype of, maybe this person was very promiscuous, that's why the person contracted HIV. So how did you find out that you had HIV, and how did you deal with the fact that you were going to live with this disease for the rest of your life?
Okay, first and foremost, let me make a correction. Okay. It's not a disease.
Thank you.
It's not a disease, it's just a condition. The same way that you talk about BP, high blood pressure, or you talk about diabetes. It's basically just a condition.
Okay.
What becomes a disease are the opportunistic infections that one will suffer.
Okay.
So that I must clarify.
Thank you so much. So you heard that, guys. Duba is now an expert, and I'm learning. So don't say anything negative to me, guys. Just listen to our expert here.
Yes. So my finding out about my HIV status was basically when I was engaged. I was supposed to get married to a certain man. That was, I think, 2001. I'd been dating him from 1999, and we had not been sexually intimate. So at church, we were advised that we need to do HIV testing just for the sake of us knowing our HIV status. So we went for HIV testing, and because we had not been sexually intimate, the chances were one of us might come out positive, one of us might come out negative, but we didn't know who would come out positive. So we went, had our HIV test done, and we were given the results at the same time. But then at the time, because your results were confidential, you decided whether to share them with your partner or not. So they told me to say, no, it's up to you whether you want to share with your partner or you don't want to share with him. So he gave me his results, and they were negative. And then mine came out positive.
Wow.
So,
hold it right there.
Yeah.
Wow. How was his reaction?
To be quite honest, he was very calm.
Wow.
Yeah, he was very calm. He didn't show any emotion. He didn't show any shock. He didn't show any surprise. And I think that was a bit comforting to me, because I think if he had shown some emotion or some kind of shock, then I would have also been alarmed. Then I would have also thought to say, probably this guy is now thinking to say, can I live with a woman that is positive? But then he was so calm about it. And in a way, he made me even be more calm about the fact that I discovered that I was HIV positive. Because I think if he had panicked, if he had shown some form of shock, even for me, it would have been very difficult for me to handle the fact that I was HIV positive. So then, when they gave us the results, I showed him the results. He was just calm about it, hugged me, told me, no, it's fine, I'll be there for you. There's no need for you to worry, and so on. I didn't even break down.
Wow.
I was so strong about it and very calm. But I think the reality hit me when we went home. Because now when we went home, he went to because we went to collect our results in the morning. So when we got home, it was around lunchtime. So he said, let me prepare something for us to eat. So he went to the kitchen to prepare something to eat. So now when I remained alone in the room, reality hits me, and I was like, so I'm really positive, And he was not there, and I suddenly broke down. So when he came into the room and he found me crying, and he tried to comfort me, and he told me, no, it's fine, don't worry, I'll still stand by you, and so on. And he offered his support, he showed his support. And from there, I felt like, okay, fine, since he's still by my side, I can still go on. But the story, of course, changes later on. As we keep on talking, you get to know what happened later on.
It's quite, obviously, it must have been quite difficult for you to face such a situation. And obviously, everyone would expect the ending of the story between you and your fiancé to be a positive one. He would stand by you. What happened to the relationship?
Yeah, because initially, that's how it looked like. From the word go, from when I found out I was positive, he seemed very supportive. And there were no signs that this man would at any point decide to leave me. We even actually went ahead and had our bridal shower in that very year.
Really?
Yes. So the fact that he went ahead with the bridal shower, to me, it gave me some comfort. I felt, if he can go ahead and do the bridal shower, it means this guy is going to go all the way. So now, during the bridal shower, that's where the problem came in, because I suffered from tuberculosis. And this tuberculosis was not a first time bout that I was having. I was having it for the second time. Because the first one I had was after my mother passed away. And they thought it was because of the stress that I went through when I was taking care of my mother. But we didn't know it could have been connected to HIV. Because at that time, I wasn't even in a relationship per se. So we didn't really think that maybe I could be positive. So then, when I had the relapse of TB, it took a toll on my health. I lost a lot of weight, and I was looking pale. So during the bridal shower, they really tried to make me comfortable so that it doesn't really show that I'm unwell. But it's obvious, especially then. There were no ARVs, so it was obvious. When somebody is HIV positive, it was so obvious from the way they were looking that this person is sick. So during the bridal shower, his relatives noticed that something could be wrong with this girl. So after the bridal shower, they asked him, and they said, this girl you're about to marry, have you been for HIV testing? And then at the time, we had not told anyone about our HIV status except our counselors. Only our counselors were aware about the results that came out. So he told them, he said, not yet, but we are yet to go. Then he said, no, before you marry her, go for HIV testing. This girl doesn't look okay. She looks sick. So he came and told me, he said, no, my relatives are a bit concerned with the way you're looking. They noticed that you're not too well. So they advised me that we need to do an HIV test before we get married. So I told him, I said, we already know the results, so it would be pointless for us to keep it from them. And then in the early 2000s, once you had found HIV positive, it meant you wouldn't have children because you would pass on the virus to the children. So now there was that issue of, if we don't have children, they'll start suspecting to say, but why are they not having children? So then I told him, I said, I think for the sake of just clearing the air, go ahead and tell them. But let me tell my family first, and then you can go ahead and tell your family. So I told my family, and as expected, my family were very supportive. They told me, no, these things happen. I mean, probably also, you didn't go looking for it. Maybe you dated somebody that, was sick and you didn't know it.
Yes.
Now, the problem came in when he went to tell his family.
Oh.
So they said, no, this girl must have known she was sick and she wanted to infect you. So those accusations started coming in. No, this girl wanted to infect you. She knew about her status, so will not agree to you going ahead with the marriage. So he came and told me, he said, no, my relatives are not for the idea that I should marry you because they feel that you knew about your status and you hid your status from me. Then I said, as God is my witness, when you and I went for a test, that was my first time finding out that I'm HIV positive. So whatever they think is really not under my control. I really can't control what they're thinking because I really also didn't know. So I said, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll still go ahead and marry you. So I said, okay, fine. That's your decision. So that time I was supposed to have undergone treatment for 8 months. So he said, no, since you are going through treatment, TB treatment, I think let's wait until you finish your TB medication and then that's when we can do the wedding. And that because that the bridal shower had passed then. So the following year, that was now 2002, we started planning for our wedding. But then I could see some hesitation from him, okay? And then he was working out of town. I noticed that the phone calls reduced, the visits to Lusaka reduced. So there was more like a breakdown in communication between him and I. So when I'd ask him about the preparations for the wedding, he told me, no, we'll come and discuss when I come to Lusaka. But then he wouldn't come to Lusaka. Yeah, so it kept on dragging. So towards the end of 2002, finally, he called me and told me, he said, no, my relatives want to come and see your relatives. So maybe you can inform your relatives to gather on such a date. We'll come through and have a chat with them. So I asked him, I said, what do they want to come and talk about? He says, I'm not so sure, but just to tell your relatives to prepare themselves. So a day before we were supposed to have a meeting with his relatives, like on a Friday, he came to see me. So when we sat with him, I had an engagement ring. So I took it off and I put it back in the box that he had used to go buy the ring for me. And I told him, I said, I'm giving this ring back to you. If you believe it belongs on my finger, then you're going to put it back on my finger. But if you feel it doesn't belong on my finger, then you're going to keep it. Then he got it back. So to me, that was an indication to say this guy is about to pull out. Because if he really was going to go ahead and marry me, he was going to say, no, keep the ring. I'm going to go ahead and marry you. So there's no need for you to give me back the ring. But then he got it back. And to me, that
was a sign.
It was a sign that this guy is pulling out. So came Saturday, they came. And the story was different. They said he was the one that pulled out. They said, no, our son says he can't go ahead and marry your daughter.
Wow.
And yet all along he had been telling me it's his relatives, And then I wanted to find out that it was him. He decided that he didn't want to go ahead and marry me. So, well, my relatives just said, there's nothing much we can do since our child is the one that's sick. Your child is okay. So if maybe by adventure tomorrow he gets infected, you say, no, our child has infected your child. So we'll just accept our fate. And whatever, maybe it's the lowolas, if you want it back, we'll pay it back. The kitchen party things, if you want them, we'll give them to you. And they said, no, we don't want anything from you. You can keep the lowola, you can keep the kitchen party goods that she got. All we've come to tell you is that the wedding is off.